Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about AMD stock, and one of the main reasons why I've been watching them here over the last week is actually because I feel like they're at a critical point where what happens here in the next few days to weeks time can potentially decide the next month to 10 months future of the company and what they're going to be doing coming into 2021 and maybe even further into the future here. Now, you may know that AMD actually ran up massively around 2 months ago in July when they bounced from their all-time high price of 55 all the way to around 85 to $90 here, and this was one of the most historic runs on the stock market, and there were tons of eyes on this stock. Now, it's always great to trade a stock that has a lot of volume and a lot of people looking at it at any one time. What this is going to guarantee is that there's a lot of liquidity around a stock and a lot of hype that you can trade on as a swing trader or intraday trader, etc., etc. And that's what we look for in order to profit from the markets. Now, AMD did hit an all-time high of around $93. And what this means for the company is that now they are at a discounted price. Now, what you may know about the US stock market is that it always tends to trend in an upwards direction. Now, whenever a company hits all-time highs, you kind of have to evaluate whether or not it's deserved or the company is simply running off hype and is due for a pullback. However, I think AMD is a company that can easily be worth $100 as a result of the price action we've seen and as a result of the other financials of the company. Now, they are one of the biggest chip makers on the market, and they did do very well as compared to Intel and other companies in this same sector. And that's one of the main reasons why they actually did run up to around $90 here in September or the beginning of this month. Now, over the last 10 days, 10 to 14 days, they're actually down almost $22 here. And the main reason is because the market as a whole is actually also down. Now, a lot of people have to ask themselves whether or not this is going to be a long-term trend where we kind of see the market stay flat, or if we're going to continue seeing the huge bull run that we've actually been seeing over the last 3 months ever since the economic downturn hit here. So it's going to be a very critical time for the company to kind of see whether or not they're going to continue flat, remain flat, or if they're even going to trend downwards more back to their $50 price range, which we know is a valid price for them, or if they're going to be continuing in the upwards direction towards the $100 range. Now, as far as catalyst for this company, they did have some news 3 days ago about a upgrade on their credit rating. However, I wouldn't say that compared to the rest of the news that we've already received about this company, I would say that this is some lesser news, and we did see a small bounce here on the 1 week time frame from 75 to around 78, 79. However, I don't think that this is the type of news that is going to help a company recover all the way back up to a high valuation of $90 here. Now, like I said, I think they can be worth $90 to $100. However, I don't think it's the right time right now with the market collapsing and with so many other companies kind of doing the same thing as AMD. I don't think they're going to be seeing that kind of rocketing potential again, like how when they were going up to $90 here. So right now it's going to be critical to kind of identify a few levels, whether you are a intraday trader or a long-term trader, to kind of decide whether or not you think they will continue in the upwards direction, flat, or maybe even in the downwards direction. So as always, I like to use tradingview.com to see what exactly is happening with the stock and to do my technical analysis here. Now, one of the main things that I tell people is that tradingview.com is a free resource. I'm using the free version here to show you guys what I do and what kind of analysis I see on this stock, and you can do this too at home. And so basically, the first thing that I always look at for a stock is what has happened in the last few weeks here. And like I said, you can see that they had a huge rocket up from this last resistance zone here. You can see that they were trading pretty consistently between around the $50 mark and the $57 mark. And I made around 3 or 4 trades during this time period that netted me around 60 to 70% profits. So they were on options, and those trades were pretty good. However, I missed this huge swing to the upside, and honestly, I'm really regretful of it. And now I'm looking for another trade to kind of get in and not miss out on this huge opportunity here with a company that is so volatile. So right now I'm looking at them around the $77 range. You can see that they've had a lot of days here where they kind of just trend up, down, up, down, up, down, with not really any clear direction around this $70 to $80 range. So what's going to be very critical here in kind of deciding the future of what happens with this stock is going to be these key price levels. Now, as you can see here, this box is one that I identified as the kind of range where AMD could break below. Now, you can see that this red candle here, the lowest it went was around the edge of this box, around the 75.08, as you can see from the blue line here. And honestly, this line was retested again on the 11th of September. So around last Friday or last Thursday, this line was retested again. And what that kind of shows me is that there is a lot of resistance around this level, and that even though we did have a big body on this candle, there was also a melted portion, which reflects the fact that once we did hit this lower price, we saw a lot of buying come into the market and the stock kind of retraced a couple dollars back up. Now, like I said, they did have that good news about the upgraded credit rating, and although I don't think that this is going to continue pushing them up into the future, I do think that it is going to be a good short-term catalyst to kind of reinforce this $75 price minimum here on their stock within the last few weeks. Now, like I said, it's going to be critical to see whether or not they break below this $75 range in order to see if they would retest this 57, or if they're going to maybe retest to the upside to this 92. So that's why I think it's so critical to see what they're going to be doing within the next few days, and what the market as a whole is also going to be doing within the next few days here. Now, if we take a quick look at the SPY, you can see that it also is having a lot of indecision here after reaching some all-time highs at around the 360. They're now sitting at around 338. And what this means for the SPY is that it's not very much moving, and especially not moving as much as it was in the past. You can see that we are literally at the previous all-time high price of around February the 20th. And that's what we've been kind of sitting at for the last few days here, and even weeks, if you don't count this all-time high period and you just count this as a flat here. So you can see that we're having a lot of trouble at these levels, and it's going to kind of be a key time where the market decides whether or not it's going to continue running up and maybe even have another bull run all the way to the 370 or higher, maybe even back to all-time highs, or if we're going to see maybe a small bounce below to this resistance right here around the 325. Now, I do think it's very unlikely that the market will see a lot of resistance because of the fact that this is a bull market, and there's a lot more people thinking that we are going to be going up than down. However, like I've told you guys in the past, there's a lot of decreasing volume here on a lot of these indexes, like the Dow, like the SPY. And now that we're reaching all-time highs, it's kind of harder for these levels to be held up. And a lot of these stocks are simply getting resistance at these levels and are coming back down instead of holding up and continuing into the upwards direction here. So like I said on AMD here, guys, I'm watching this $75 level. If they stay above for the next few days, and if we see maybe a green candle that is very similar in body to this red one, to these previous red ones, or even to this green one here, then I think that's good. I think that's going to be a very good sign that AMD can continue into the upwards direction, and maybe we're going to see a market recovery as a whole. However, if I do see them break below the 75.08 and hold for a full day, like I said, this candle was a full day and they were down at this price at some point. However, by the end of the day, they came all the way back up to $77. So that's why it's critical to wait for the candles to close in order to have that confirmation of the actual event happening. Because if you did buy in a put here thinking that this was going to come down, you would have lost very badly here. So that's why it's always important to wait for confirmation here. And guys, just watch the $75 level. I'm telling you, it's going to be very, very critical here coming into the next week of time and coming into the future of AMD as a company here, as a stock, in order to know whether they have more upside into the future and can potentially hit that $100 level, or if they're going to continue trending down very strongly to the 57, which we know is their previous resistance. So like I always tell you guys, resistance becomes support. So if they do come back down to this 57, I think we will see some support here and a large bounce. However, I wouldn't doubt that they could bounce as well off this $75 level. So that's why I'm keeping a close eye out on both scenarios. Anything can happen in a market as volatile as this is right now, when people have just a lot of hype and there's not really the financials to back up a lot of these companies and a lot of these runs that have been happening over the last few days. So as always, guys, be very careful. Keep a close eye out on these markets. There's still a lot of opportunities with a lot of these companies going upwards or downwards a lot in a single day. However, you just have to keep your eyes open and you have to be ready to leave a position if you do think it's bad, or come into a position if you are confident that it's good. That's why it's so important to do this technical analysis, so you can be confident in your decision and confident in your position when you're going in on a large stake stock, and especially during such a volatile time like we have right now. So just keep a close eye out. As always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe the video, and thanks for watching.